Team WUNAX deck profile.
Hey guys, GALLIW from Team WUNAX. I'm going to show you guys the War Rock deck profile that everyone was asking for. So, I've been playing this deck a little bit on DB, so it's slightly different than the one I played versus the tier player. A lot of people saw on the DB Grinders channel. But this is essentially what I was playing with a couple changes to it based on just kind of some testing I did and kind of where I felt and everything. So let's go into the deck and I'll kind of show you guys how it works and explain why I play the roadshows I do. So to start off with, we have our three big guys, Bashilos, and then our fourth one, Meteor Dragon. So Bashilos is actually really good because a lot of times you are forced to battle with this deck on ineffectively, essentially I would say. Because a lot of times you'll have to crash Dactos to trigger Forsha or Assault Halberd. Then Bashilos will come out and it's a big beater that allows you to swing over stuff. If you don't have Mountain or they remove Mountain, you really don't have a good way to get something big on the board unless you have Bashilos. So Bashilos is at 3 because of that. Also, being level 8 is relevant for a couple reasons, which we'll go into, but that's just like the main reason we play it. After that, we play one Meteorite. Meteorite is kind of like your pseudo win condition. This card's really strong. The problem is it has no effect in hand unless you have Warrock Mountain in hand. So you only play once that your Warrock Mountain grabs this card essentially, if you can. I was playing 2 before, but I realized it's not clunky at 2. After that, 3/4. This is like the lifeblood of the deck. This is how after you clear the battle phase, you end on Warrock Medium plus Warrock Dignity, and you just say, okay, you have no monster effects for the rest of the turn, and your damage step, and then in the battle phase, I just have negates to deal with everything. 3 Warrock Dactos, pretty solid extender. He just summons himself from the hand when you summon Earth Warrior, which you play a lot of. After that, we play 2 Warrock Wentos. This one is just a 26 speedster essentially, which is really nice for the deck. It allows you to swing over the bigger stuff more easily. 3 Heroic Challenger Assault Halberds. This is another way to special summon. This is a warrior that special summons. It's also Earth, so it will get all the bonuses. But it also gives you a little bit of recovery because a lot of the time you're not killing them on turn 2. The kind of game plan for this deck, at least for me, has been I'll go for to make a rank 4, and then I want to end on medium plus a big guy. Pretty much is kind of my plan, and this is the perfect way to do it because it also gives you follow up on the later turns, which is huge. After that, kind of the rest of our Warrock engine: 1 reinforcement on the army, 1 Warrock Dignity. I was playing 2 before, like I said, but I feel like I don't want to draw this. I want to draw medium or I want to draw Warrock Mountain. I don't want to see this as much because this doesn't really do anything unless my engine's actually going. I want to just use this to finish my turn out, essentially. I want to be able to pass the turn to my opponent with my rank 4 on board, plus this, and kind of go from there. From there, triple Warrock Medium. This is a floodgate. Essentially, if your opponent controls a special summon monster and you control a level 7 or higher Warrock, just basically Bashilos or Meteorite, during the main phase, they cannot activate card effects. So a lot of the time versus tier, you'll end on Dweller plus Medium, and then one of your big guys, and that's basically game over for them. They don't really have a way to break that. So it just becomes really easy from there, and then Dignity allows you to kind of dodge stuff in the battle phase. Lifeblood of the deck, Warrock Mountain. It lets you special summon a warrior during the battle phase. Insane. And then 1 Terraforming. So that's kind of my main core engine for the Warrock cards and how I kind of worked them in. I think this is probably optimal. You could maybe play 3 Wento. I'd go back and forth on how I feel about it. But I think the list I have right now is fine. You could play a Photon Thrasher also, but I think Assault Halberd is generically better assuming you're going second, which is what you should be assuming. And post side, I put this down to 2 almost always, and I bring in my other power card. Yeah, so that's kind of how I built the deck. It was with this idea that some people would make me go first after they saw my list. So I wanted a way to circumvent that to an extent. But yeah, so the Warrock engine, the idea is you crack their board with this. You crack their board with your board breakers, use the Warrock engine to kind of give you pluses, and then lock them out of the game, and then kill them on turn 3. So you're doing, or turn 4. So you're doing turn 2, breaking their board, setting up either floodgates between Big Booster or Dweller, or you're just killing them. You can just flat out kill people sometimes, or you're setting up a Zeus alongside it, whatever. And then you're setting up medium plus dignity to protect your board from there. Pretty simple strategy. It's very effective too. It's very Unga-Bunga-like, and I like it. So yeah, there's that. And if you guys want to see content with this, give me a like on this video. I'll do more DB matches. I haven't played this. It's not bad. That's the scariest part. This isn't a bad deck in this format. It handles the meta really well because tier loses to Unga-Bunga. But with that in mind, let's go with the rest of the deck. 1 Call by the Grave. I still think this card's just really good. If they Ash your Mountain sometimes, it sucks. Otherwise, also having their Grave effect triggers is a pain in the ass too. This can help force out the tier field spell, the planet. Because if they only have one shuffler, you can just recall by the grave, force that shuffler out so they don't have a pop. Also, obviously, it's just good against hand traps in general. Triple pot of extract. Your extract is like important to this deck, but it's not that important. You can banish most things, and obviously you could want. I like having a little bit of utility in here. Gandiva is probably Copium, but obviously versus Sprite is actually a pretty good card. And then we have Bagusta and Dweller, which I wish were at 3, just they're definitely the strongest. But everything else has its own place in this deck that it fills pretty well. So the only card I would consider cutting if you really want to have more space is Gandiva. But like I said, Gandiva does come up here and there because it is an interaction that's only warriors. So if you're forced to Warrock medium, this is the only way you can really end on an interaction. And so I think it has a spot in here, but yeah, it's just not always necessary. Then for our board breakers, triple Lightning Storm. I wanted to be able to be backroad X. This card's also just good against stupid shit like Flunderies, Sprite. This card's just insane. Like clearing out back row right now is really good because like every deck sets back row because you have to play around cards like Dark Ruler. We don't play Dark Ruler in this deck. Why don't we play Dark Ruler in this deck? I want to do damage, and with that Dark Ruler, I can't. After that, triple Droplet. Droplet's really good in this deck. You have a lot of cards you don't mind like burning in this deck. Like if I go at Strab and then I chain Droplet, I'm totally fine with that. Or I don't mind going like Lightning Storm, chain Droplet. Oh, since you're playing somebody like spells, that it's fine. It just doesn't matter. You have Swords of Stealing Light. This card is really good right now. Because even if you can't break their board directly, this still lets you just put everything face down. It's just forced to stay there. Book of Eclipse is another option, but in my testing, sometimes I just didn't have like the gas to crack boards fully, and Book of Eclipse just kind of wasn't as good for me. You can run it. I'm just not a huge fan of it personally. After that, triple Alpha, the Master of Beasts. This card's insane right now. It will almost 100% always force out an interaction. Your opponent is always going to attempt to stop this card because a bounce effect versus tier, even versus Sprite, is extremely good and it's non-targeting. Non-targeting versus Sprite is insane. Not only that, it just punches over the toad. It's just a big dude. So sometimes I've had hands where I go Special Assault Halbert, Special Alpha, Normal Summon Forsha, and then I just go start punching everything. And yeah, that works great, honestly. And then you do Alpha on their turn, you kind of bounce their stuff, and yeah, you're having a good day from there. So yeah, that's my these are my board breakers. So I play 12 board breakers. I think 12 is the optimal number because once you're going second, if you have 12 in with a 6-card hand, you have about, what are the odds? I think it's about an 87% chance to open at least one and about a 65 to open two. If I remember right, I think those are what the ratios are. So yeah, it's really nice to have guaranteed like power Ghost Rider cards, and these are good against like everything. I wanted a really balanced mix of Ghost Rider cards because there's a lot of different decks in the format. Obviously, stuff like Kaidus are kind of okay, but they're a little mediocre in the certain matchups. Like if I play versus Sprite, what is a Kaiju doing? Nothing. It's what am I doing? I'm trading their Elf. I'm trading a 1-for-1 on a negate, and they still get a body, which I don't like. Whereas opposed to like Concealing Light, if they're not negating this, it's basically shutting off their turn. Kind of the same with Alpha. This is both a threat by itself. This booking your opponent's board is really good, but this card's a threat by itself, and it can take multiple cards because you bounce one, then it also has a body to swing with. Really nice. Same with Lightning Storm, Board Wipe. Droplets utility is just like such good utility. Even like if we draw like 3 board breakers and then also have Warrock cards, I'm totally fine keeping Droplets for the follow-up. It's insane. Onto the side deck, we'll kind of explain it. Rivalry is a really good floodgate. I'm not choosing to go first against any deck, but I do have decks that will make me go first, and there's a lot of times where I'm totally fine putting Rivalry in. Gamma's kind of the same deal. This card's okay for going first. It'll stop them from like ashing me and stuff like that, which kind of whatever, but it does let you make a Virus Poison, which is neat. Shifter, same deal. Good going first, good going second. Diefy, same deal. Good going first, second. Feather Duster for those pesky backroad decks that we know we're going to face, which we actually don't already do that bad against, but is nice for them. And then 1 Pancratops for the backroad decks and Sprite, basically. So yeah, that's our main inside. Let's go to the extract for fun and explain our choices. We play 2 Dweller. Dweller's insane. So good against 2 right now. One of the best extras I use. A lot of people want this card banned. But yeah, we use it really well in this deck because we turn off effects in the main phase, and then we have them under Dweller, and it just wraps up from there. 2 Bagusta, kind of the same deal. This card just is, you don't have to play the game. Really good against a lot of the random rogue decks that just like short out this. Like stuff like Despia, Thunder obviously just started with this card. 2 Gaga Cowboys. This is how we kind of cheese game. So there's a lot of times where you can actually just put up 7,200 for free. Like specifically like Forsha plus like Assault Halberd, Assault Halberd plus Wento plus Dactos. It's going to be pushing for, what is it? I think it's 37 plus 26. I'm trying to think of this right. You just put you put them really low, or sorry, it's Wento, Dactos, and then Field Spell with Boshilos pushes them for game with the Cowboy at times. So that's just really really convenient to have that option, just kind of punch them for game here and there. It doesn't come up that much, but it's also a guy who can put 3k on board to turn over something that's relevant. So yeah, we also play Comic Hero King Arthur. Now this is a weird type. The idea behind Comic Hero is that you're only going to be using warriors to make rank 4s. And what you can do with them is you can attack, detach to protect, and then put a Zeus on top of it. That's like the whole point of it. Because it is a warrior, you can still summon a Warrock off of mountains. You can force an effect out. Like I've forced like a Rukalos before, and then I Comic King Swan in, then I made a Zeus, and I couldn't bring the Rukalos back. Super good. I was playing Utopias before. I just don't think they're right. The Diva, if you're forced to use Warrock Medium to make plays on the turn, which does happen sometimes, unfortunately, this is the only rank 4 warrior that has an interaction point on it, or like rank 2 warrior, or like link 2 warrior, or anything like that. So you are forced to play this card. He's super mid. Popping a card on summon's kind of shit, especially because it has to be a level 4 lower. But he's still just not, like, it's an interaction, you kind of just have to do it, because just ending on 2 Warrock sucks. Our Zeus, board wipe's insane. 1 GALLIW Photon Lord. I have had this come up off a double Master of Beast, or I've had like times where I've done like, I had like Master of Beast bounce, summon Master of Beast back, summon Dactyl, summon Forsha, Dactyl swing in, it Forsha effect to add, crash Forsha in to bring up Boshilos, hit, and then I overlaid into the GALLIW Photon Lord. It doesn't come up that much, but it is a relevant play that could happen, so I like having the option to do that. And then after that, 2 Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. There's just not really that many good Link 2 warriors that aren't a Solday. You could play a Solday, but I'm using this because it's more generic. If you want to choose a Solday so you can add for follow-up, that's fine. It just doesn't do that much. And you kind of want to, if you're summoning this, it's usually to clear out an Alpha the Master Beast, because you really need that Warrock Medium to set up for game. So that's the deck, guys. Really fun. If you guys want to try this, I really enjoy it. It is definitely an Unga Bunga deck, but those decks are the most fun. So subscribe if you want to see more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.